Once upon a time, in a lush green forest surrounded by rolling hills, there lived a clever and curious fox named Felix. Felix was known for his fiery orange fur, bushy tail, and sharp mind. Although Felix was clever, he often let his pride and impatience get the better of him. One sunny afternoon, as the golden rays of the sun filtered through the trees, Felix roamed the forest floor in search of something delicious to eat. His stomach growled, and his mind wandered to thoughts of a feast fit for a king. The forest was alive with cheerful sounds, birds chirping, squirrels playing, and leaves rustling gently in the breeze. Suddenly, Felix' keen eyes spotted something glistening high up in the branches of a large vine-covered tree. A cluster of plump, purple grapes dangled temptingly in the sunlight. They looked so juicy and sweet that Felix' mouth watered at the very sight. These grapes must be the finest in the forest, Felix thought. They will surely make the perfect snack. But there was a problem. The grapes were hanging far too high for Felix to reach. He tilted his head, narrowed his eyes, and measured the distance. It's not too far. He thought confidently, I'll just jump up and grab them. Felix crouched low to the ground, wiggling his tail as he prepared to leap. With a burst of energy, he sprang upward, his sharp claws swiping at the grapes. But they were just out of reach, and Felix landed back on the ground with a thud. Undeterred, Felix tried again. He jumped higher this time, stretching as far as he could. Still, his paws met only empty air. Nearby, a tiny field mouse named Mia watched curiously from beneath a bush. Mia was shy and quiet, but her eyes sparkled with curiosity as she observed Felix struggle. She giggled softly to herself, but Felix didn't notice. Felix refused to give up. I'm the cleverest fox in this forest, he muttered to himself. Surely I can outsmart a bunch of grapes. He tried everything he could think of. He climbed the tree trunk but slid back down. He found a large stick and tried to poke the grapes loose. But the stick wasn't long enough. He even stacked some nearby rocks to create a platform to stand on. But the pile wobbled and collapsed, leaving Felix in a heap of dust and frustration. As Felix sat on the ground, panting from all his efforts, the sun began to sink lower in the sky. His once bright and confident eyes now seemed tired and defeated. Just then, a cheerful sparrow named Sunny flew down and perched on a nearby branch. Sunny often traveled across the forest and knew all about the sweetest fruits and tastiest treats. Felix, Sunny chirped, though Felix couldn't hear him. Maybe these grapes are not worth all this effort. Sunny noticed that the grapes were still green around the edges, a sign they weren't fully ripe yet. But Felix, too proud to admit defeat or for advice, didn't question whether the grapes were worth the trouble. Instead, Felix stood up, dusted himself off, and announced to no one in particular, "Do you want sour grapes anyway? They're probably not even good enough to eat." And with that, Felix turned his back on the vine and trotted off, trying to hide his disappointment. As Felix walked away, Mia, the mouse, scurried out from her hiding spot. She nibbled on a crumb of cheese she had tucked away, thinking about how hard Felix had worked and how stubborn he had been. Mia was too shy to say anything, but she made a note to herself. Sometimes it's okay to ask for help. Meanwhile, Felix's mood began to improve as he wandered deeper into the forest. He stumbled upon a patch of wild berries, glistening like tiny jewels in the fading sunlight. The berries were sweet and refreshing, and Felix's spirits lifted as he filled his belly. And so, Felix learned an important lesson that day. Sometimes the things we want aren't as wonderful as they seem. It's okay to walk away and find joy in something else. For Mia, the mouse, and Sunny, the sparrow, it was also a reminder that being kind and offering help can make a big difference, even if it's just a quiet thought or a small giggle shared with the wind. As the moon rose and stars dotted the night sky, Felix curled up under a tall oak tree, his stomach full and his heart a little wiser. The forest hummed with the sounds of the night, and all its creatures settled in for a peaceful rest. Did you enjoy the story of Felix the Fox and his sour grapes? Remember, if something doesn't work out the way you planned, it's not the end of the world. Sometimes what you find next might be even better. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fun and exciting stories like this one. See you in the next adventure.